Okay, I'm going to try to teach you guys how to play a very basic round of Cold War Commander as fast as I possibly can, using nothing but the quick reference sheet. So you might be asking yourself, hey, Tory, isn't this the first edition Cold War Commander reference sheet? Isn't Cold War Commander V2 out yet? Well, then you would be correct. But you know what? This is my favorite quick reference sheet of all time, so I'm going to keep using it. And if you know how to play Cold War Commander V1, you're going to know how to play the second edition. The only difference being some modifiers, some minor changes that you'll be able to learn on your own once you've got the core mechanics of the game down. So, before we start out, I've set up an op4 here of two little tanks, one there, and an infantry stand guarding that town. And you know what? Let's give them a little commander here in the back. Boop. Cool. And on our side, we've got our HQ over here, two of their tanks, and then another commander with some infantry. So, before we get stuck in, I'm going to go over the stat line or the characteristic line of everything in the game. It's very simple. So, you've got the name of the unit. So, let's say an infantry unit, you know, what they are, their movement in centimeters. Their attacks is how many d6 they throw when they attack at what range in centimeters. Hits are basically the amount of wounds they can soak up in a round. Their save is their armor save, which is going to protect them from fire. Cost, you know, when you're building an army list, limit, and notes. Limit being how many you can take per 1,000 points in a game. Okay, so going back, let's look at the turn structure here. Phases. Scheduled, initiative, command, and end phase. Starting out, the scheduled phase basically resolve all scheduled artillery and air support. So honestly, this might be one of my favorite parts of this game. You build your army list once the mission and map has been decided. So you can, you know, stock them on artillery if you think you need it. You can build an infantry heavy list if you really think you need it. And you also decide what turns artillery and aircraft are going to be coming in on. And you have some adjustability with a forward air controller during the game if you need be. But for example, at the beginning, before you start, you're going to say, I'm going to blow up that house with artillery turn 2. So at the beginning of every turn, there's a chance that those things are coming in and blowing shit up. The second phase is the initiative phase, which we're going to skip right now and go directly into the command phase because the initiative phase requires that you have some knowledge about how commands work. So, everything in this game revolves around giving commands to your units. Officers and HQs are the people that do this, and they have a command value, usually anywhere between 7 to 10, maybe 6 to 10. And what you're trying to do is roll equal to or less than their command value on 2d6. So if this commander over here has a command value of 10, I need a 10 or less on 2d6 for his order to succeed, which I get there as with a 7. So the type of orders that they can give out is basically everything you can imagine, and they're all very simple. Shooting, disembarking, moving, pretty much anything you can imagine is given through an order. So for example, let's say I wanted to move these two tanks here. I need a 10 or less on my command. I got a 9. Awesome, so I can move these guys. Now, the caveat is that there is some modifiers when you start making subsequent commands or when people are out of range, or sometimes there's going to be things that happen where you can't command your units, and that's where the game gets really interesting. So the most common one of these modifiers is going to be when you're giving subsequent commands. So let's say I told these guys to move that last turn, right? So they move up a little bit. Now, I want to order them again to move. So now it's my second order, so I'm going to have a -1 to my roll. So I started at 10 as my command value, but it's my subsequent order, so now I need a 9 or less for them to move. Oh, and I rolled double 6s. So this is extra bad because this would mean it would be a command blunder, and there's a chance that they shoot each other, something like that. We're going to ignore that for now. You can read all about command blunders later. It's very simple. But when I fail, that basically means this commander can give no more commands for the turn. He's done. So this is where it comes super helpful to have multiple commanders. And the extra thing to note is that if your big commander, your big HQ, once he fails giving commands, your turn is over. It's supposed to represent your big commander. He's failed. There's like a complete communication breakdown. No one on your side is moving. So generally what you want to be doing is commanding with your little officers first until they fail, then follow up on your HQ commander. Now, a commander can only, when he activates a unit, he needs to finish activating that unit as much as you want before they move on to another one. So for example, let's say I want to move these infantry up. I roll, and let's say that succeeds. I move them up again, and now his roll is going to be a 7 or less. And I'm saying to myself, I don't really like that. I'm going to finish their movement. No one else can activate them now, and I'm going to move on to someone else. So maybe he'll try activating these tanks now, and they'll move up. So the rule of thumb is units can only ever be commanded by one commander a turn. And a commander can activate as many as he wants, but he needs to, once he stops commanding a unit, he cannot go back. People who are familiar with War Master or Black Powder should, know this system very well. So that's the command phase. And once that phase is over, the end, it just goes to the end phase and then it goes to your opponent's turn. So let's run through a really, really simple turn. Let's say this guy, this CO, is going to have these infantry move up. So he's going to give all of them a movement order. And he's got a command value of 9 or less. So I need to roll 9 or less on 2d6. I get a 7. Awesome. So I'm going to move all these infantry up. They're 10 centimeter movement. Perfect. So I have to continue to, if I want to keep activating them with him, or with anyone rather, I need to give them another order now. So I'm going to try to activate them again. I started at 9. It's a -1 for a subsequent order, so I need an 8 or less. And what I'm going to do is have this guy and this guy shoot the people that are hunkered down, and he's going to shoot an AT weapon at that tank. So I'm giving them all shoot order, and I need an 8 or less. All right, now in business. So going back to their stat line, let's look for infantry unit regulars. They fire 3 shots at 30 centimeters. So let's check the range here. So they're definitely within 30 centimeters. Now shooting is also very simple. You're going to roll a number of d6 based on the attacks, okay? The rule of thumb for the hit definitions is that if the unit is out in the open, they're hit on a 4. If they're in soft cover, they're hit on a 5. If they're in hard cover, they're hit on a 6. And it's basically that simple. There's exceptions to the rules. You can see things like fully armored fighting vehicles are hit on a 6 by indirect fire. So there is some exceptions, but generally 4s, 5s, or 6s, open, soft, or hard cover. Now, the firing modifiers, sometimes this does mess up people. These actually add dice. They do not change what you need to roll. So, for example, I'm probably within half range with my infantry. So even though this guy is in hard cover, so I'm going to be hitting him on 6s, I'm going to be rolling an extra dice because I'm within half range. So first unit is going to be shooting this guy. He's going to be hitting on 6s. I got 2 hits. Now this guy, also on 6s. I'll roll these ones. All right. So I got 3 hits total, okay? So I'm going to track those 3 hits right here. Now, he would get a save. Most of the vehicles will have saves, 3 up, 4 up, 5 up saves. And typically infantry do not have saves. But since he is in some sort of fortification, this does give him some protection against the small arms fire. So since he's in this trench, basically this trench line here, he's going to be getting a 5 up save. No, and he does not save any of those. Let's say he got 1 5, then this would go down to 2 hits instead. So once you rolled any saves to see if your armor, your emplacements can stop them from getting hit, you're going to roll a suppression die. And you do this for every hit you sustain. So if he had gotten 2 hits, I would roll 2 suppression die. But since he only got 1, I'm rolling 1. And You roll this, and the value you're looking to get is what you needed to hit. So I needed a 6 to hit him. So if I roll a 6, then that guy becomes suppressed. And being suppressed is terrible because it basically means they cannot receive any orders. No, he's not suppressed. But let's say he was. He has 2 hits on him, and now he's suppressed. We'll just remember that guy's suppressed. All right, now let's do this infantry team over here. Let's say that they have a Carl Gustav. 40 centimeter range, 5 dice. Okay. Let's check the range on this. 15 centimeters. This guy's out in the open. I'm going to do my 5 dice. I'm hitting on 4s. So 3 hits. Now, this chieftain has a 3-up armor save. So he's super tanky. So now my 3 hits, I'm going to roll his saves and see how he does. So he negates all 3 saves. Or all 3 hits, rather. So let's say he failed this one, okay? That would mean he has 2 hits on him now. And we're going to roll for suppression. So if you remember, I needed a 4-up to hit him since he was out in the open. So I need a 4-up to suppress him. I do not suppress him. So he's still in the fight. Okay, so all their shooting's been done. Now I'm going to try to go again. Maybe I should do another round of shooting. So I've done 2 actions with them. And I'm still within 20 centimeters, which is another modifier. You know, your guys end up going far away. It's harder to activate them. So I started at 9, -2, so I need a 7 or less. All right, they get another one. They get another round. So let's do some more shooting here. I'm going to open up on this guy a little bit more. So now that he's suppressed, if I end up doing hits to him, he's going to fall back. So I need 6s here. I got 1. The second guy is going to shoot. 1 more. So I got 2 hits on him. Remember, he has a 5-up save for being in the fortification. No, he did not save either. So now he goes up to 4. The infantry, pretty much universally, all the infantry units have 6 hits. So if he ever gets up to 6 hits, he's destroyed. But there's one more thing that I'm going to show you at the end of this phase, at the end of the round, which keeps people alive and keeps them fighting in the game. So, since there's 2 unsaved hits, he's going to fall for every unsaved hit. Instead of rolling for suppression, since he is suppressed, you roll d6 for each, and they fall back that many centimeters. So he's going to fall back 7 centimeters. Let's say he goes down this road. So now I got him out of the fortification. An important thing to note here is if you ever fall back 10 or more centimeters, you are automatically destroyed. So there's incentive to suppress people and continue to shoot at them to make them fall back. Or in this case, it's really nice to have them fall back out of that fortification. So here, let's do another attack here with my Carl Gustav. So I'm hitting on 4s. Oh, terrible roll. No hits. Okay. So they've activated again. I've done my shooting attacks. Now I need a 6 or less. It's my 3rd consecutive action. No, I fail. So this guy can give no more orders. If I wanted to, let's say that I had another infantry unit over on this side that I didn't order for some reason, okay? These guys are all the way back here. I could have stopped there. I could have said, okay, I need a 6 or less to activate these. I think that's too risky. So I'm going to start over here. And now I'm going to start back at the top with these guys. I'm going to give them a movement order on a 9, which I would fail. So he would be done. Anytime you fail, he cannot give any more orders for the turn. Okay. So this officer is done. I still have my HQ over here. So let's start him now. I have a command of 10. I'm going to move these tanks up. Oh boy, double 1. So when you roll a double 1, you get a bonus action for free. So effectively, these guys are going to be able to do 2 actions, which is great. So I'm just going to move them up slowly. Let's just say I move them here, move them up again to assault this road with my infantry. Now, that was 2 movements. So there is one thing your opponent can do on your turn during your command phase, and that is opportunity fire. And it basically means that they're going to be able to shoot at you, make a single shooting attack at you with, whatever they have, and it will give them a chance to suppress you and stop from moving. So I come into line of sight of this tank right here, okay? And I could have reacted with these 2, but I didn't, just for an example. So he sees my tank coming across. He's going to announce that he's giving opportunity fire. He's going to fire 6 whole dice and an extra one for being in half range. And since, let's say I'm kind of exposed there, I'm in soft cover. Well, actually, I'd be open. He can kind of, interrupt me whenever I want. So he's going to hit me on 4s. Let's say these 2. 2 hits on me. My challenger here has a 3-up save. So I fail 1. So since he's hitting me on a 4, I have 1 hit on me. But if he rolls this 4 for suppression, this tank can't move for the rest of the turn, which he can't. So he is now suppressed. So I've only given them 1 order because I rolled a double 1. So I'm going to try my second order now. So it's going to be a -1 to my 10. So I need a 9 or less. But also, since I'm out of 20 centimeters, for every 20 centimeters, it's an additional -1. So I'm going to be at a -2 starting from 10. And I can't activate this tank because he's suppressed. So I need an 8 or less to activate this tank. Oh, and he fails. All right. So that turn is done. And I'm going to put a little marker here to remind me that this tank shot with suppressing fire or opportunity fire, because it's going to change how things go into the going phase. Okay, so the end phase. This is where this is super interesting. It messes with a lot of people. All of the hits or wounds on every model on this table is removed. So this guy took a hit. He goes back to full HP. He took a hit, and he took a hit. Now keep in mind, this guy's still suppressed, so I'll leave a little marker. And at the end of your turn, all of your suppressed units are no longer suppressed. So even though this guy got suppressed during my turn, now he's unsuppressed, and it'll give him an opportunity to do opportunity fire. Meanwhile, the opposing player won't be able to rally this unit that's suppressed until the end of their turn. So let's go into their turn now. Now is a really good opportunity to do initiative phase. So scheduled phase, we don't have any artillery or anything, and initiative phase is right where we jump into. So each army has a doctrine, and the doctrine dictates certain things about their army, like what you can take. But the most important thing is it dictates your initiative range for all of your units. An initiative basically allows your guys to act on their own instead of receiving commands. And if they act on their own accord in the initiative phase, it's harder to give them orders later, but you can forego that initiative, that command check, and they can, just act on their own. With that said, the initiative phase, there's a lot of other things that happen in this phase. For example, engineers carry out engineering tasks. Recce units are a big thing in this game, reconnaissance units that will be moving forward and giving information to your commanders, pathfinding, things like that. And they do a bulk of their actions during this phase. We don't have any of those things for this, playthrough, but it's a really important phase. So before we even get to their command phase, let's do some initiative here, okay? So in order to do initiative, you need to see an enemy. Okay, so let's just say the opposing force is also British. Their doctrine is flexible, so they have a 25 centimeter initiative range, okay? So this tank did shoot with opportunity fire, but he can still act on initiative.
Incoming transmission.
Whoa. Hold on there 1 second, big guy. Pretty sure the rules state that if you did opportunity fire in the previous turn, you can't act on initiative. But for the sake of this demo or playthrough or whatever, let's just imagine he didn't do his opportunity fire, but it's an important distinction to make. So back to the video. This guy did not shoot, and it looks like both of them are in initiative range. Okay. So with the first tank, he's going to enact on initiative and do a shooting attack. So let's get my 6 dice, and he's going to shoot at that tank right in front. So you cannot use opportunity fire during the initiative phase. So I can't shoot back at him here. It's the benefit of him like closing the gap and, you know, coming right at me. So out in the open, hitting on 4s. Looks like I got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. Not looking good for my little challenger here. I have a 3-up save. Oh, save all of them. All right. So now I'm going to put a little thing there to show that he has acted on initiative and he used opportunity fire, because those are going to change in the command. This guy's also going to be on his initiative. And it looks like here he's got a flanking shot, which is an additional d6. He will also be hitting on 4s. Whoa, not very good rolling there, bud. But if he can get through this armor, there's still a chance he can suppress. So my challenger here is a 3-up save. Let's re-roll that. He saves it. All right. Put a marker here. So now it goes to the Op 4 command phase. So remember, this little infantry unit is still suppressed. So it's going to be wiped at the end of the turn. Going into this player's side of the turn, he'll be able to do, you know, regular actions, suppressive fire, reactive fire, etc. So what I'm going to do is give, let's say this guy is a command of 9. He's going to activate these 2 tanks. So let's check his range to see if he's within 20 centimeters of both of them. He is. Okay, so he's not going to get a modifier for that. But he's going to get a -1 modifier because of opportunity fire, and then a -1 for initiative action. So since these guys both have a -1, it doesn't stack. It's basically just, if any of them that you're ordering took an initiative action, it's going to be a -1. So you want to be decisive on, you know, who you're ordering. If you're ordering someone who took some initiative action the previous turn or earlier in the turn, you might not want to give them orders because it could bring down your overall command capability. So this guy is actually at a -2 because he did initiative action and opportunity fire. And even though this guy's just at a -1. So for example, if I wanted to just start ordering him, maybe activate him 3 times and then switch over to him. And then since he's at a lower modifier, that wouldn't be a bad idea. But in this case, we're going to try to activate them both together. So it's going to be a -2 because I acted in my initiative and I opportunity fired last turn. So I need a 7 or less. Let's say that's a 7. All right, time to bring up some hurt here. So this tank is going to shoot at this infantry squad instead and see what they can do. So it has 6 shot space, 1 for being in half range, and then another 1 for shooting at a soft target within 20 centimeters. So he is rolling a whole ton of dice. Now, you can use opportunity fire here to react to shooting, although opportunity fire, the enemy will shoot first and then you'll shoot directly afterward. So there is plus and minuses to it. You know, if you said like, okay, I'm going to take the hit, but I want to try to suppress you before you fire again, that's the basic idea. So we'll have him react to this guy. So if he survives, he's going to shoot back at him. So I have infantry in the open on 4s. Whoa. I don't even know if that guy's going to survive that. All right, 5 hits. He's barely hanging in there. He's probably going to be suppressed. So infantry in the open get no saves. So he is rolling just for suppression here. Okay, so this guy's suppressed now. So he will not be shooting back. This tank, same idea, except he's not shooting at a soft target. I'm going to shoot here. Now these 2 tanks are going to fire back at him. So 4 hits on this front tank. He has a 3-up save. Whoa, 1 fail. So One hit on this guy. He's rolling for suppression. He is suppressed, so now he cannot return fire. And I'm going to put my one hit on him. But this guy can return fire, so he's going to shoot back here. 7 shots. Well, let's say this guy's in soft cover here. He's like ambushing from the tree. So I'm going to be hitting on 5s because he's in soft cover. 2, 3. 3 hits. This cheats and has a 3-up save. Makes 2, fails 1. Let's see if he's suppressed. He is. So now he can no longer act this turn. So you can only opportunity fire once a turn. So these 2 guys, they're done. Well, he's suppressed. He's done his opportunity fire. He is also suppressed. So the only thing left I can give an order to is this tank. So he opportunity fired. It's his second order, so it's -2. 7 or less. Got a success. So the basic idea, let's say he failed that, okay? End of turn, we're going to remove the active player's suppressed units. No longer suppressed, no longer suppressed, and we remove the hits. Now, these guys are just going to stay suppressed, but we remove their hits. Okay? And that's basically it. Now we're going back to this player's turn. Scheduled phase, nope. Initiative. These 2 guys are suppressed. They cannot act on initiative. They're going to become unsuppressed at the end of this player's turn. These guys can act on initiative, but remember, if they do, it's harder to command them later on. Opportunity fire, ATW, evasion, initiative, action. Okay, and that's the basic mechanics of the game. We're not going to go into close combat because, honestly, it doesn't happen very often. And it's just a set of procedures that you can follow once you've learned the core mechanics. But yeah, other than that, I hope this is enough to get everyone playing. I absolutely love this game. We played in 6mm, company, maybe company level is actually usually what we play it at. But it's absolutely fantastic. The scenarios are great. Can't say enough good things about it. Pick up 2nd edition. There is some things that, if you watched our review, that we're not super big on, but generally, I would say it's an improvement, and we're trying to get more games of it under our belt. But otherwise, thanks for coming by, and have fun gaming.